Welcome to Little Shits and Giggles, with the podcast where we talk shit about our little shits. I'm Mama Chaos.
I am Jason Quinn.
Let's get this shit a rolling. Jason, how's your weekend been?
My weekend has been a fucking absolute shit show. I had my kids and I don't know why my fucking 9-year-old son decided that actually my 9-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter were both really fucking coming in clutch with pissing me off this fucking weekend.
Uh-oh.
Just fighting back and forth about the dumbest shit, running up and down stairs, constantly doing all kinds of shit. And then the thing that really got me is it all fucking culminates in like I take them to a park, took them to a park, right? Really fucking cool ass park. This big ass like wooden castle park, super fucking cool thing, right? It was like a half hour away from my fucking house. I drove them to this park, and they act like little assholes the whole fucking time. They take off their shoes it's like what the fuck, like it's like what do you like, we're in a park and there it's like it's the fucking it's the tire mulch, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
I
already
understand.
it's just already like all of their feet is just kind of is fucking covered, and then they're getting in the car and it's like you have no courtesy for anybody else, and they're like, well, it's just like it's funner, and it's like I mean I respect it and that's cool, but at the same time, like maybe fucking ask first, you know what I mean? Maybe just be like, hey dad, is it cool if we fucking do this bullshit? No, none of that at all. And then they're making me look like I am like fucking like I don't give two shits about my kids because they're climbing up to the tallest towers that they can find, and they're just jumping out of the window.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like they're practicing to be fucking extras on, Game of Thrones or some shit. Just like I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
Next American Ninja Warriors right there.
Something, dude. And I'm like, you guys are setting bad examples. They're like, for who? I'm like, for all of the other little kids that are at this park. Well, so, and I'm like, not well, so, like, you, you
Morals
fucking,
are so hard to teach at that age, though. Like, my 9-year-old is a little sometimes. I just want to yank her hair out because she's literally the rudest person, yet she can be the kindest, most sweetest person on the planet as well. But
oh yeah, oh yeah, that pisses me off too. Because like when I go to pick him up, like we, obviously, like I have like a shared custody situation going on with their mom. I go to their mom's house to pick him up on Friday. He runs out, Dad, and like, I love you, I missed you, and then like runs up, and you're like, oh man, like this is great, like it's gonna be a great weekend, like things are vibing real good. And then like we're 2 days in to the fucking weekend, and then I take them to the park, everything's cool at the park, they act like little assholes, but whatever. And then we're on the way home. I decided, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get him some pizza. You know what I mean? So I go to Little Caesars. I order fucking Little Caesars pizza. And every other Little Caesars I've ever been to is fucking like normally on par, but this one was slow as shit. Like I placed a timed order for a specific time, and they were still 15 minutes fucking late or getting the pizza. And it was like it's like a Sunday. I'm like, what is going on just like a random ass Sunday that you guys whatever. Anywho, so we get to the fucking pizza place, and I go in to go pick up this fucking pizza. And my sister-in-law sits in the car with the kids. Well, as I'm going to get out, as we're driving there, the kids, my son and daughter, like my middle son and daughter in the back seat, are just fucking fighting back and forth, hitting at each other and shit. And I'm like, stop, stop, stop. And like, I sound like a broken fucking record over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm fucking losing my mind. I'm losing my whole shit. I can't fucking do this. And then like, finally, I'm like, look, dude, you're about to lose the switch. Like, you're not about to do it. You're not about to play this. You're not about to do all this shit. It's not happening. And we as I'm saying this, we're pulling in to a parking spot at Little Caesars. And then he's like, no, you're not going to do that. I was like, oh.
no, he didn't.
Like I was like, what? Like my whole, like I was in slow motion. Like I'm thinking,
Who the fuck do you think you are?
like my whole, like his whole life flashed before my eyes. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, what the fuck is this kid thinking, right? So I'm like, who the fuck's gonna stop me? Like, who's gonna stop me from taking away the Switch? Like, who's gonna tell me that you are for sure gonna get this? Like, you in what army, little man? Like,
Yeah. Arm wrestle him for it. Make
oh,
him.
dude, I every time he talks this shit like he's like so fucking strong, like he thinks he's the Hulk, and then like I will arm wrestle and I'm like, all right, go ahead, and like he just sits there. He, I'm 32. I'm almost 33. There's not a 9-year-old on this planet whose arm I couldn't break in an arm wrestling contest. I'm not saying that I'm particularly strong in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm like an averagely strength dude, but like no 9-year-old has got that strength. So I'm like, you and what army is going to stop me from taking, you know what I mean? And he's like, that's not fair. I'm like, oh, your poor privileged fucking life. Like, it's so sad that you just left a fucking park and you're having such a bad fucking time that you're going to go eat pizza, fucking Little Caesars pizza for dinner, which is pretty fucking fire. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, I'm like, oh, it's so fucking rough. You're going to do that. And then we're going to go home and watch movies. And the only thing that you're missing out on is the Switch. How fucking rough is your life, buddy?
Uh,
Oh, and it's just, it's like, what the fuck, bro?
I hate when my kids are like, "Oh, but that's not fair." I grounded my daughter. Okay, my 9-year-old daughter was grounded, and her friends were outside playing, and she's like, "Can I go play?" And I was like, "No, you cannot." And she was like, "Well, that's not fair." And I said, "Well, how the fuck do you think grounding works? It's not just for the phones. Like, it's not just YouTube. Like, you are confounded to these walls, and you will not leave these walls until you are going to school. And when you come back from school, your nose is going to be on a fucking book because if you touch a goddamn screen, mama's going to lose her fucking mind." And you know what she does? As soon as she comes in, she walks in the door. "Can I watch the iPad?" "You can read a fucking book, you little devil." Ugh, pisses me off.
You're like, if does like at what point is it ever going to click through your little skull? And then they act like the with the punishment, the thing with the punishment too, like you'll deliver the punishment, and then like he ended up losing the Switch. Obviously, we knew that was like every parent here listening was already like, yeah, he lost that shit already, like guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah,
So he
fuck
he
yeah.
ends up losing, and it's not because I didn't even take it away because of the back talk like bullshit that he said. I was just like I just like talked him through that one. Like I'm like, use your whole brain. You know what I mean? Oil some cogs up there, whatever you got to do. Fucking make that shit turn. You know what I mean? Fire the gerbil that's running your shit right now and get a new one because shit is not clicking. Okay. So I just walking through that one. And then we're we what the fuck were we talking about? Punishments, right? We were talking about the thing. I'm like, are you happy? Are you happy that you lost the Switch? And he's like, well, no. I'm like, well, you wanted that, right? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, yes, you were given two choices, right? Stop fighting your sister in the back and keep the Switch, or lose the Switch and keep fighting your sister. You picked to lose the Switch and keep fighting your sister. That's not on me. I didn't make that choice for you. You made that choice. So you
Exactly.
should be happy with that.
Exactly.
Fucking
I'm
drives
getting
me
to the
crazy.
point where I'm starting to like have my kids choose their punishments. Like, would you rather you have no iPad for the whole week, or would you rather read a book for 2 days? They would go without the frickin' iPad every damn time. I don't know what it is about these fucking books anymore, but my kids don't want it. They're like, "No, we want the iPad." Like, "But you can get it back quicker if you just read a book." They're like, "Nah, fuck that shit." Like, mm-mm.
Books ain't that life, dog.
No.
No, see, that's my 10-year-old daughter, like my oldest. So I have two 10-year-olds that are a boy and a girl. My 10-year-old daughter, my oldest daughter, is a bookworm. Like, and I have a rule in my household that anytime my older kids, like my 8, 9, 10-year olds, any of those four, if they read like a book, like a significant book, chapters, whatever, for their age group, I give them $1 for every one they read and can tell me about. Right?
Right.
Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. No, my 10-year-old daughter makes me pay. She's like, I got you, Dad. She's like, I'm about to read 3 books while we're just sitting here. She reads through like Harry Potter and shit like it's nothing. Like
Oh,
I
I need
like
to start paying my kids to read. That sounds like a better idea than rejecting an iPad. Like, God bless it. I am raising such privileged kids.
it is I just started the reading thing within the last month because I saw it on probably on fucking TikTok. If I'm being honest, I probably saw it on TikTok. And I started the reading thing and I was like, you know what, this is gonna work for everybody. And like it worked for one of them and it worked for only the one that I already knew it was going to work on. Like my other, like it was mostly to get my other kids to read more books, right? My 10-year-old son, it works on him to a certain extent, but he's not going above and beyond looking for shit. He's like, if I like it, I'll read it, I'll tell you about it, and then we're good to go. Like, so he's made a couple of dollars, here and there. My 10-year-old daughter, I don't I think she'd stab a man just to steal the book out of his hands, just to read it to make sure she got that money.
Oh my gosh. My kid had a book that she got from the library at school. She's had it for a week now. And I'm like, why don't you just read that book? And she's like, I already read it. I said, well, tell me about it. What happened at the beginning, the middle, the end? She's like, how am I supposed to know? I was like, because you fucking read it. Like, you dipshit. Like, what the fuck? That went right through me like a fucking electric sword.
I had a instance when I was in high school where I had to do a book report, and it was like a team book report, and we are supposed to read this book and we are supposed to give like a speech about it. And I didn't read the damn book at all, and neither did my partner. So she comes up to me in between classes, like earlier on in the day, and she's like, "Hey, like, what are we fucking doing for the report?" And I'm like, you know what? Just like, I'm just gonna wing it. So I stand up in front of the classroom, and all I did to prepare for this was look at the book and then read the back of it, and then I made up this whole story on the spot about about like what I thought may have happened, right? And I was drawing pictures on the board of like these two people that were in a cave and like they were trying to struggle their way, getting their way out. I drew a helicopter. I can't draw, but like I'm doing it, right? So I do this whole speech. We go to sit down and like class claps, whatever. Teacher comes up to me and hands me like my grade afterwards, and I got a B+ on it. And she's like, I've actually read that book and none of that happens, but you told the story was you sold the story so well that I'll go ahead and give you the B+ on that. I was like, that's that's the only, like, the greatest thing that I accomplished in high school was that.
Some of
Like,
the best advice my dad has ever given me is if you're good at anything in life, be a good bullshitter.
oh dude,
So,
oh for sure, for sure. I got out of a being in trouble at work one time because I told a guy, that my boss, that a polar bear who was on his way to deliver a present to Santa Claus for a girl who was who Santa forgot her letter, uh came and stopped to use my cell phone because his cellular phone was not working and he was not getting any of ours. And I was like, and who am I to ruin this little girl's Christmas by ending my break early? And like my boss was like clearly I know that's a bullshit story, but like I'll let it slide.
I got in trouble at work because too many of my grandmas died. Like,
You're like, how many grandmas do you have?
I was like, well, my adopted parents, and they're like, but your parent, you still what? Uh, You live with your biological parents. So I was like, nah. I was adopted by these kids down the street, and their mom was like my mom, and her mom just. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta be there. So sorry, I can't come into work
It's a tragedy for me. So
today.
as you can see, it's rough.
It is. I one time called off work because I ran over a squirrel and I couldn't stop crying. And that was fun. And then I got sent home from work because I had a kitten stuck under the hood of my car. And I get to work after I get the kitten out and everything. And I brought the kitten into work with me. And they're like, you can't have this cat in here. I worked at a hotel that allowed animals. And they're like, you can't have that cat in here. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, like, they made me go out and release this kitten into the woods, like where it's never been, and I could hear it as I'm cleaning the rooms, like meowing and, calling out, and I'm crying. And one of the residents who knows me sees me and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, my kitten's gonna die out there. And she's like, no, it ain't. So we all went out there, did a group search, we found it, and then it ended up being one of the permanent residents there at the hotel I was working at. So I got to play with it all the time.
I just want to say that I am glad that that story had a turnaround there, because at first it was dead squirrel and then kitten in car. I was like, this is not taking a solid turn. And then we shifted right back around to permanent resident at the hotel. So I'm glad that that took the turn that it went. What an adventure.
Everything, everything comes full circle.
What a real adventure we had. My fucking, I was playing video games. I was playing Fortnite with my kid last night, and this little shithead, like he ends up dying over some dumb shit. And as I'm playing, he starts narrating me playing as if it's a nature documentary. He's like, crikey, look at him. And I swear to God, he's doing the voice and everything. And I'm like, you are 100% my child, like for sure. He's like, and look at him. I don't even know if he realizes he only has 30 health points. And he's like going through, I'm like, you little shithead. Like,
if there's any time to smack a child, that'd be it. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like shut the fuck up. But like at the same time, like I've never been more proud. You know what I mean? Like, like,
As you ate the whole wheel of cheese.
Yeah,
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
I mean, I can ask case of him. But everybody that's listening right now that just heard us do those quotes that doesn't know, completely lost.
Yeah, no, and I'm not going to let you in on the secret either, because if you don't know what we're quoting right there, you don't deserve to know. Too highbrow for you.
I probably won't mention. I probably won't remember this, but you can come to my movie podcast and we might review it over there one of these days. Sorry, that was just I had to shamelessly plug that. But it is called Roll Film. So if you're wanting to hear it, feel free to check that shit out. Had to get a
shameless plug. Shameless plug.
I had to. It was right there. And you know what's funny is just earlier 2 days ago I recorded that podcast and I shamelessly plugged this one on there.
Hell yeah.
So
all right, I ain't even mad.
Yeah. So it counts. It was a full circle thing.
Full circle. But so listen, I got an email and I want to see if you relate to it. Okay. All right. So this story, I'm not going to say your name because all of these are going to be anonymous, but she says, so about 4 years ago, when my daughter was 2, she thought that it would be a good idea to sneak out of her Nana and Papa's bed and into their kitchen in the middle of the night or early morning to get a container of flour and just get it all over Nana's kitchen floor and herself. When they woke up and walked out, my daughter, covered in flour, proceeded to act so cute, and they just couldn't help but start laughing. Like, I can't relate to that anymore because my kids can get away with fucking murder when it comes to grandma and grandpa. Like, if they tried that shit at my house, I'd lose my fucking mind.
Oh, I'm low key like speechless here on that one. I I have had a situation that is very similar to that happen as far as like the mess goes, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But as far as like kids getting away with murder, it's really my youngest daughter, and I'm honestly this is probably partially my fault too. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not guilty of this one. That my 2-year-old daughter, she is the youngest of my six. So, and I know that she, like, I had a vasectomy, so she is likely to be my last, right? Very like
Likely.
this, the chances are strong, right? Um,
Right.
so that child can get away with murder. Like, I, I am confident that if I took her into a bank and she passed a note and was like, "Give me all the money," they would give it to her and nobody would say shit. Like they wouldn't call nobody.
She's
They,
just too cute.
they'd be like, "Oh, look at her. She's just robbing her first bank. Isn't that sweet?" You know, like I swear, whatever it is, she could get away with it. I know it.
Oh, that's my 4-year-old 100%. 100%. I swear she's gotten away with so much shit just because she could be like real cute and have the real big puppy dog eyes and barely fill up with tears, not one drop until the right time. And then it finally falls down her cheek and then you're just like you crumble. You're like, all right, all right. Yeah, you can have whatever the fuck you want. You want my wallet, go for it. Go buy whatever you want.
My girls, I'm so bad when it comes to my girls. Like they they all had my number. Like I know that for sure. Like it was just my now 9-year-old or no, now 8-year-old daughter's birthday. Sorry. I have so many birthdays and kids. Keeping my kids like I know what order they come in, and occasionally I'm not gonna fucking lie to you people. Sometimes I can't remember names because and I go through them and I just shout out what number they are and they fucking know it. I don't care. I don't care. I'll be like, uh 3, and he's like, "Fucking what, dad? What do we need?" I don't care. Whatever. I loved the kids next door as a kid, and now I have it. So whatever. I don't care. And so like that's a deep tickets kids next door reference for all of you kids next door nerds out there.
I
Um
am not one of those kids next door nerds.
I all of the characters' names were like number 1, number 2, that's just how it, but anyway.
That's how Dr. Seuss works too. So, you know.
Um Dr. Seuss is cool, but Kids Next Door is really cool. Bite me. But yeah, so my and it's the crime is what it is. Like for me, when like if I yell like if I'm upset at something my kids are doing and my boy has like one of my boys has done some shit, I can look at him and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Right? And I can hit him with that exact situation, and he's just gonna stone face me and be like, "I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't know." Like, right? And like that's it. Like that's about the emotion that I'm getting at it. My daughters, if I hit her with, if I was, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then it's like the emotions and the tears and like all of that. And so like I have to talk to them differently because if I don't, then they react like that. And if they react like that, I'm like, I don't even remember what I was punishing you for. Now I just feel like a dick. Right.
See, I'm a no holds bar type of parent. Like if you're pissing me off, I'm gonna let you know that you pissed me off. I ain't gonna hold back. I ain't gonna walk on eggshells for you. I don't give a shit if you're gonna cry. I don't give a shit if you're gonna fight me. I'm ready for both. I got tissues and I got boxing gloves. All right, let's fucking go. So if I tell my 4-year-old, like, hey, quit being a little bitch, she'd be like, Mommy, you're the bitch. I'm like, you know? Eh. My 9-year-old, if I'm like, "Hey, quit being a bitch," she just stares at me and gives me that look, like the evil comes out in her. She's the reason why I believe that children are demons.
Oh, dude.
But
Yeah, my 9-year-old son. number three, as we were just
Mm-hmm.
talking about him. Uh, One time he called me a stupid motherfucker. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I remember the first time I called my mom stupid. Okay, and I mean, this was back in the 90s, so, we got smacked around. But the first time I called my mom a bitch or I said, fuck you, whatever it was I said to her, I don't even remember. She knocked me into next week. She smacked the shit out of me. I fell into the refrigerator. I was covered in cereal. You know how you got boxes of cereal and flour and all that shit on top of the fridge? All that stuff comes flying down on top of me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And she's like, get the fuck in the room. And I went in there, and then my dad comes home, and I'm like shaking in my boots. And he's like, how fucking dumb are you? Like, that's one thing you never fucking say to your mom. If I hear you say that to your mom again, like, there's going to be an issue. And I'm like, okay, I promise I won't do it again. I was like 18 years old. Like, I was a full grown fucking adult when I fucking said it. And I got
Yeah, see
out.
now I was more of a mama's boy, so I didn't really have a whole lot of confrontations like that with my mom. Now my dad though, uh one time I did decide that I was gonna swing on him, right? And my dad is a big dude, and I know whatever you're picturing in your mind right now, he's bigger than that for
Oh,
sure.
shit.
My dad is just he is an absolute unit of a human being, and fucking great dude, 100%, love him to death. But at this fucking particular moment, uh, I swung on him, and I remember I don't even know if all of this is 100% in my mind, or just the cinematography of this just happened in real life. But I remember swinging on him, and I connected like maybe chest, because he's like 6'5" and I'm like 5'8". So I like hit like boom, like I hit like a solid chest, right? And then I remember his arm coming around, right? And I remember thinking like that. I was like, at this moment, I realized I fucked up, right? And like he's coming around for me, and I'm like, oh shit. So I hit like a quick duck, and I remember just leaving the house for the weekend. Like I just left. I was like, nope, I am gone. Like I was just,
Oh,
I left. I walked like 5 million like miles to my best friend's house, and I was like, I'm here today. I am good.
have you ever had like a reaction from your parents that they just refuse to remember? Like, I had an incident one time where we had some or not ferrets, hamsters, and they got loose. And we also had a German Shepherd. And this is how I remember it. Okay. So I remember the hamsters being loose and the German Shepherd is going after them. And I'm like holding back the German Shepherd. I'm only like 6 or 7 years old. Anyways, like the hamsters go down into the vent, like where you have the heat and the air conditioner and stuff come up.
Of
They go
course.
down into the vent.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to hold back the dog and I'm trying to yell for help without waking up my dad because I know that my dad had to be at work. Like he had to be up for afternoon shift. So I'm like, Mom, Mom. And she comes out, and I swear this is how I remember it. She will deny it until the day she dies. But she come out, she went into the bathroom, she come back out with a hairbrush, she yanked me by the ear, got me down on the ground, and just started beating me with this brush. And then she got back up and went to bed. I don't know what happened with those hamsters. I don't remember. Like, I remember, like, they lived. I remember we still had that dog afterwards. But, like, I literally, all I remember is getting hit with that hairbrush. And the next thing I know is, like, we're living a good life. Like, I don't know if we switched timelines and that's why my mom doesn't remember it or what. But, like, I think that she just beat the old Miranda out of me with a fucking hairbrush.
Right. That was the last time Miranda was ever seen in this reality.
For real.
You know what? And I knew this story was going to be ridiculous as soon as you mentioned the word hamsters. There's not even a single story that anybody has that is not ridiculous in which hamsters are involved. I
I mean,
swear.
yes, hamsters are crazy, but the most crazy story I know is personal to me. We were babysitting my aunt's rabbit. Have I ever told you this? We were
I don't think so.
babysitting my aunt's rabbit, and she went out of town, and we had to go to my grandma's house, and we were going to be there all day long because we were working on, or not we, I was only like 5, but anyways, everybody was working on my grandma's roof. And this was back in the day where you had to call and punch in a number just to listen to your voicemail, and it's around noon. And my mom goes to call and check the voicemail, and it's a busy tone. And she's like, "Oh, I must have left it off the hook." So she calls again at like 4 o'clock, same thing. And like, we don't get home until midnight. And my dad has been up on this roof all day long since 8 o'clock in the morning. He is sunburnt from head to toe. He's cranky. And as we open up this door, we lived in a split entry house. As we opened up the door, it was like a fucking waterfall coming down. And like next thing I know, I don't remember seeing it. I just remember hearing it. My dad splashing up the fucking stairs. And then he opens up the door and he just starts screaming. I have never heard my dad scream the way that he screamed. This rabbit chewed a hole in the back of the toilet, like in the water line, and it did it around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back until midnight. So it cost $25,000 worth of damage back in the 90s. So it would have cost even more now. But like $25,000 worth of damage to our house.
All right. Well, that got out of hand real fast. I mean, that really escalated quickly. Rick killed a guy.
With
Anyway.
a trident.
Yeah. Um anyway, so I've got a little story thing. I was going on Reddit and I found this post and I thought it was hilarious.
Oh
And
goodness, Reddit's always got something good.
it was, parents, what is the funniest thing that your child has done that you had to punish them for, but you were holding back laughter, right? And I found 3 on here that I found to be just creme de la creme of fantastic.
All right, let's hear these.
Uh, so the first one was from a guy named a user, sorry, not a guy, a user named Mainly for Show. It says, walking through the Capitol building with my then 4-year-old son when a man on crutches with one amputated leg got into the same elevator as us. My son said in a whisper, "Mom, what happened to his leg?" The man heard him and kindly said that he lost his leg a year ago. My son didn't miss a beat and said, "Did you check between the couch cushions?" My mom says she's always losing shit in there. I was appalled. The man, on the other hand, was laughing so hard that he was crying.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting that.
Right. Oh man, they say, like, kids say the most ridiculous shit, and it's like,
I mean, but seriously, did he check between the couch cushions? It could
right,
have been there.
we never know. I lose shit between my couch cushions all the time.
Me too, and I don't know how because there's a fucking a thing there, a sheet. I don't know how it gets in there.
Bullshit. Fucking ridiculous.
All right, that was awesome. You said you had another one?
Yeah, I got a couple more actually. So this one says, this one's, I have Finzen ages. I have no idea how to pronounce this one, but uh, while playing in her pretend kitchen, my 4-year-old was rummaging through cabinets and says, "Where the fuck is my colander?" And before I can say anything, she finds it, sniffs it, looks at her teddy bear, and asks, "Did you piss in this?"
I for sure just woke up one of my kids right there. Like,
This is, I gather my composure and discuss the use of daddy words.
Oh my God, that reminds me, my 4-year-old the other day. So there's this show. I don't know what the show is. All I know is that there's this pink monster called Kissy Missy. All right. And my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old love this toy. Anyways, my 4-year-old comes in. She has this doll in her hand, and she like throws it on on the floor, and she goes, "You know what? Now you got a chipped tooth," and walked away. Like
Dude, what my kids have had beef with fucking toys and shit too, and you're like, what the fuck is your like? Chill out, my guy. Like
uh,
taking it too intense.
oh, just wait. I'm gonna have to show you this video I found of my oldest child like beating the shit out of an iPad.
Oh yeah. I remember. Do you remember you ever seen Trolls, the movie Trolls?
Yes.
So Justin Timberlake's character's name is Branch, and that was my
Uh-huh.
one daughter's first crush, and I significantly remember her in the back seat. She had a little action figure and she's playing with it, and she goes, "Oh, save me, Branch, save me." I'm like, how are you like 4 playing damsel in distress in the back seat here, like while we're just driving to the store? Like, it's so
Listen, at
ridiculous.
that age, I had a crush on oh, what's his name? Mulan's like teacher, the guy teacher
Oh, what
on
is it?
Mulan.
Is it Han? No. What's his name? I can't think of it. I love that movie.
I love
Uh,
that movie too. I love it to pieces, but he was my very first crush. And looking back, that wasn't a bad crush for it being a first crush. Like, I mean, he's got a nice body for a Disney character, you know?
I mean, fair enough, but let's get down to business. Um, and get back to the stories. If you don't get that reference, I'm suing. Um, so the last one, this is a significantly longer story than the last ones, but this one's by Slice of Pie.
All right.
And this one's quite the story. It says, my son is the youngest of 4, with 3 older sisters. After going through the toddler and grade school years with those 3, I figured there'd be no way that he would top them. Yeah, no. So he was 5, and he had been in kindergarten for all of a month. I get a call at work from the school saying, "You need to come get your kid. He's naked. Won't put his clothes on, and we have the principal keeping him isolated in the bathroom or he'd be running through the hallways." So
Holy shit.
the story, as best as I've been able to reconstruct it, went something like this. My son, having grown up in a house full of girls, wasn't taught about peeing standing up until the summer before school started, because I'm not going to deal with 4 women complaining about pee on the seat and the seat getting left up. That summer, though, I figured I'd show him about urinals since he was going to encounter them the next year at school anyway. So he has to pee and he gets up and goes to the bathroom. How his teacher managed to let him out of the classroom and not notice he was gone for 10 plus minutes, I have no idea. The kid is nothing if not disruptive. Takes after me. He goes in there, sees the urinal, and I'm sure in his little brain thinks, aha, daddy taught me about these. I'm going to pee like a big boy. He did his business, flushed, just as I taught him to, and that's when trouble started. This particular school has been there 40 plus years and was his mother's grade school, if that tells you anything. And the plumbing is mostly original. The valve on the particular urinal was one of the ball joint valves. And when they leak, they tend to do so in a spectacular, fashion. And the boy promptly got sprayed with water. This became fun, and as he did in it several more times, spraying water on himself, wall, the floor, mirror, everywhere. Then he was wet, so naturally he did what he does when he's soaked and in his wet clothing at home. Takes it off and began to play in the water more, continuing to spray water everywhere. This went on for close to 10 minutes more before somebody went looking for him, realized, oh goodness, this is a problem. They tried giving him dry clothes and he threw them back out of the bathroom. It being American school, of course, they aren't going to dress him or make him get dressed. And it quickly became a game of which he had no intention of losing. It continued until I got there and he realized the jig was up. Took him home and did my best stern dad voice while while inwardly howling with laughter the entire time.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine that's how my parents felt. So in first grade, I decided that I wanted to stay inside during recess. So I hid under the tables while everybody like got in line and like went outside.
As you do.
And yeah, so I decided to stay inside. And while I was in there, I was like, oh my gosh, I really have to poop. But in order to go to the bathroom, I had to walk by the ISS room where all the kids who wasn't allowed to be outside were in. So my dumb first grade ass decides I would rather shit my pants than chance walking past this teacher. And I 100% shit my pants. And I come home from school that day with a pair, it was picture day. And that was
Oh,
why I didn't want to go outside because I didn't want to mess up my hair. So it was picture day. And when I come home in a pair of pink sweatpants that were like 3 sizes too big for me and a dress shirt, my mom was ready to lose her shit. Like she's like, "What the fuck happened?" And I was like, "I don't know, but good thing the pictures are only from like here up."
nothing, mom. I didn't know. Everything was cool on my end. I mean, everything was chill for me. I don't know why I'm wearing these different clothes.
See,
Super weird.
nowadays, all I have to do is just cough the wrong way, and I have the same reaction. So,
Right. I I can't tell you, this is just for the listeners' personal enjoyment. I can't tell you the number of times that I have been on a phone call with her, and it's just like the two of us, or like me, you and Adam, and we're laughing, and you just know, I know that you pissed yourself for sure. Like I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that has happened.
it happens all the time. That's why that's why as a mother, you always wear a pad because you just never know if someone's going to make you laugh, if you're going to sneeze, if you're going to cough, if you're going to go jumping on a trampoline for some goddamn reason. Like you don't know. So
Always be prepared.
always be prepared with always pads with wings.
See, and that's, we're not sponsored, but if Always wants to sponsor our podcast, I will do pad commercials until I'm blue in the face. I don't even care. I am about it. I am not that guy. I am not that guy that's like, ooh, I'm not gonna go buy a pad or buy a tampon. I don't give a fuck. I will talk. I'll be this, the you can make me the Kotex Sport ambassador. I got this. I'm out there. Okay.
It'd be like you do bounty commercials but with pads.
All day. It's just like me landing on a bunch of pads. Like, don't you like a soft pad? You know what I mean? Can't you imagine yourself drifting to sleep on these wonderful cushy pads? I don't know why, but I don't know why people are sleeping on pads in this story, but whatever.
Well, because you drool and they're absorbent. So
I do drool, as a matter. That's a genius idea. I'm gonna get a pad. I'm gonna stick it to my pillow on the side where I drool. You might have just invented a whole new reason why people buy pads now. Now you've
yeah. Yep. Save the pillows, buy some pads. But don't buy too many of them because, we out here bleeding
right.
and we need to save our underwear.
Yeah, we don't need like a toilet paper of 2020 situation for pads because people drool a lot. Okay, so if you're buying, buy responsibly.
Yes.
Um, that got out of hand, and I'm sorry for that. But you know what? It was
Worth
necessary.
it. Worth
Uh,
it.
you had one last story, right? You had another story
I
that you wanted to share.
I do. Okay. So this was emailed to us. She says, First, I want to start off by saying, since I came across your videos, my videos on TikTok, I don't feel as crazy because I can definitely relate to you with your kids and your rants. So, not to say I'm a big deal or anything, but
You are a big deal. I don't give a fuck
uh,
what anybody says. I'll say
uh,
it. I'll say
uh,
it for you.
anyways, so she says, I have three kids. My daughter, Serenity, she is 5. My daughter, Graceland, she is 3. And my son, Oliver, who is 2. So you know how they say that you always get that one child that's the problem child? Well, mine is my middle child, Graceland. And on this particular day, she was going to put me through hell. And it started like this. I woke up to the noise of my daughter Serenity screaming, Yuck, Graceland, that's disgusting. Me wondering what the fuck is going on. I get up, I open the door, and there is Graceland standing there, butt naked with poop all over her and a shitty mural on the wall. This got me so irritated, and I told her sternly to get into the bathtub. I clean her up and I get the kids downstairs for breakfast. After breakfast, I decided to go get laundry done and bring it up to go fold. So as I'm doing this, again, I hear my daughter Serenity yell, No, Graceland, don't do that. So again, I go see what the hell is going on. And as I walk in to the kitchen, I see my son sliding across the floor with my daughter Graceland wielding a bottle of dish soap in her hand. The bottle was brand new. She dumped the whole fucking bottle on the floor. They're just slipping, sliding across the kitchen on this brand new bottle of dish soap. She says at this point, I get cranky with her and I put her in timeout. Good job, Mama, for keeping it
Hey,
together.
hey, let's get just a pause round of applause. Can we get a
Round of applause.
shout out for holding it together for a timeout? That in itself, pat yourself on the back on
For sure.
that one.
So she cleaned it up and finished up what I was doing. I let her out of timeout, and the kids were playing nicely, and it came to start to supper. So I was like, all right, so I guess this whole fiasco is over. I turn the oven on and I walk away to sit for 5 minutes.
Always
5 minutes. That's how it all starts.
100%.
Then all of a sudden, I smell plastic burning. So I
Oh
go
man.
fucking running into the kitchen into a smoke bomb. I turn the stove off and I open it up and I see what was in there. And it was Graceland's plastic toys. I was so angry at this point. So I went and sat outside to cool down. I came back in calm and just ended up ordering supper. I got the kids fed and got them put to bed. And then I remembered I have a Vincent van Gogh shit painting on my wall that I have yet to clean up. At this moment, it felt like I was raising the spawn of Satan, but now that I look back on this story, it's pretty funny. So yeah, I totally get your videos.
Man, I gotta say that sucks, and like all of that sucks. And first off, I want to say props to you for again going outside and taking the time to calm down, because that's what it's all about right there.
Yes.
Finding that is a strength that you don't know unless you are a parent. Find that.
And you get judged for it so bad though.
Oh
Like
man.
I make my videos out in the garage and everybody's like, your kids wouldn't be getting into shit if you wasn't on the garage. Like, fuck you. Like everybody needs 5 minutes and kids only need 30 seconds to fuck shit up.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah, like you and I can, like we can talk throughout the day, or like, have like a quick, chat, here and there. And like you and I don't talk for long periods of time because you got shit you got to do, you know what I mean? So it's not like you're out there, spending your entire life doing all of this stuff. Like it's just kids just are quick. They are so quick. And then the other thing that she mentioned, like cleaning up shit is the fucking worst, dude. It is the fucking worst. The only other thing that like is kind of also on that same level, but in a different way, is cleaning up dish soap. And this had both. And the reason why I say that is because when you clean up dish soap, it
it's
takes so
never
many, it
ending.
never stops. It's an ongoing battle. Like the amount, oh my god, you could literally spill like, just like a little teeny, like this size amount on the floor, and it will take you forever to clean that up. And if this was enough
Yeah.
for them to go slip and sliding through, oh my god, I can't even imagine. That would have taken ages.
Yes. That, and have you ever had a Vaseline incident?
Oh no,
Gotten Vaseline?
I had a Desitin one.
Ah,
You ever had
even worse.
oh,
Even worse.
Desitin? You get Desitin on your clothes. I remember I picked out, so my fourth child, my Lenabug, she was a baby, and I wanted her to have this beautiful little Supergirl onesie thing that I picked out for her. Was super pumped about it. I put it on her for the first time, and I just changed her diaper, and I put some new Desitin on her, and then I walked out and I left the lid on. And I walked back in to,
Rookie move. That was your
oh,
number 4?
number 4, it was a
Rookie.
rookie move. I know. I do have a weird specific circumstances that led to me being a father of 4 in a very quick fashion. But so I'm gonna say that that's part of it, but it's it was a lot of mess, and that outfit, I only got to put her in that outfit for like 2 seconds. She literally wore it that one little quick instance, and then it was gone, because you can't Desitin does not come out. I don't care what you put it
No,
on.
no, Desitin and a mixture of baby powder and any sort of liquid.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
my oldest daughter covered the whole house in baby powder and the dog, and then the dog pissed. Like, so we had pissy baby powder, and it was a hardwood floor. So it was going into the
The
like
little groovy
crevices.
deals. Oh,
Yeah. And like, I mean, that's the main reason why we didn't get our security deposit back at that place.
I had one where I didn't get my security deposit back because I had a babysitter who shit got out of hand at the house, and I came home and my entire house was covered in crayon
And
everywhere,
what?
in crayon,
Oh,
the whole walls. Like, I'm talking living room, stairs, hallways upstairs, the whole house, the
That's
whole
how
house.
that's how my kids are though. Like it doesn't matter how many times I fucking put away the pens and the markers and the crayons. They got them stashed away somewhere and they ain't sharing their secret stash, okay? And every time I fucking turn around there is a new masterpiece somewhere, whether it be on their own body, on the wall, on the bed. Like, oh my god, I'm losing my shit, okay? Because everybody knows I'm living at my parents' house right now. And my mom is a huge crafter. She crafts big time. So she's got paint and paintbrushes. She's got markers of all sorts of everything you can think of. And trying to keep my kids out of it is like trying to keep the crackheads around here out of your unlocked garage. Like it was insane.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's they're like little fiends for the mess. It's like
Yes.
they feed off of it. They're like, I know I can make the biggest fucking mess here. I know I
And
can
the
do that.
worst part about it is that it's all psychologically explainable. They're just one, curious, and two, kids learn by touch. You know what I mean? Like my 2-year old is experiencing a new texture with this paint. Like, oh my gosh, look what it does whenever I put it on the walls. Like, oh my God, this is awesome. But in my head, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I,
Yeah.
I
That's the thing. Like, that there are so many. I mean, there's probably 100 podcasts out there that are going to tell you exactly why your kids do the things that they do, and we'll try to do that along the way as we can. But I'm not that. What we're here to say is that just because you know what they're doing, it does not make it any easier, and that's
no,
okay.
no.
Like, it doesn't matter that you have, your kids are little shitheads because when they can't come home from being at school because they are decompressing and this is their safe space. That doesn't make it easier to deal with.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what we are about here. Um, and I think that this just like kind of is a perfect space to kind of end this episode. Do you agree?
I agree.
I I if you didn't, if this is the first episode you were finding today, we actually did 2 episodes that were released in the same day. So you can check this episode out, and there is another one. So 2 episodes released on November 14th if you're finding this within that week span. If not, then there's episodes you can find however many episodes we have. I don't know. I don't know when you're finding this. You know what I mean? I don't know. We could have 900 episodes by the time you find this episode. And if that's the case, congratulations on getting to listen to 900 episodes of this.
Right.
So
If we get to 900 episodes, I'm going to shit my pants. But for
live,
sure.
she's going to do it live. So,
No.
so hurry up and help us get there.
No, but seriously, like the first episode, really, I wanted to get to know you, so I was a little interviewee there. But I think that everybody can fall in love with you in the first episode and then really start to laugh with us this episode moving forward.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were trying to do with releasing the 2 episodes here, was just trying to make sure, because yeah, you're right. That first episode, it's a little bit of more of an interviewee kind of thing. You get to know me. It's still funny. There's still a lot of great funny stories in there, but it's a little more on the tamer side. And I apparently was high on my kids being just angels at one point in time, because I said having 6 kids was not that hard. And as you can tell, I'm fucking stupid for saying that. Don't listen. 6 kids is fucking hard as shit. It is
I made a
hard as
video.
fuck.
I made a video today saying that my kids were being like oddly suspiciously like good. And as soon as I come in, there's my youngest daughter with a Sharpie just covering herself in it. Like, whoops. Like, this isn't no fucking accident. You planned it. You knew I was going outside to decompress. You knew where those markers were. You planned it. Mm.
So we will be back here next week, again, doing another episode. We are going to have a guest on next week's episode. So that'll be a very special Thanksgiving week episode with a awesome guest, who's running Operation Joy. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. Her name is Mariah Walker. I believe I'm getting that correct. I believe it's Mariah
Yeah.
Walker.
Yeah.
I know Mariah. She is a super cool person, and I cannot wait to have her on here and tell you guys all about what Operation Joy is, and talk
After
shit
learning about it, I'm so excited to promote it. Like, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
So I'm excited to talk to you everybody about that. And if you want to follow you, how do we find you? If you are just discovering this, if you want to find you, how do we do that?
I'm mostly on TikTok. I stay off of Instagram because it's toxic, and Facebook is reserved for people who know what my farts smell like. So you can find me on TikTok at mama.chaos.
I also am kind of the same way. I don't like anybody else on anywhere else, so I get that completely. TikTok is where you can find me. If there's a post of me on Instagram, like, you can follow me by all means, like, go for it. But I don't post there. So
Yeah, I haven't posted in forever.
if you did want to find me, you can find me at Mr. Jason Quinn on TikTok. And then is there anything else that we need to cover here? I think
Like minds.
Oh yeah. It'll be what, at Like Minds, I believe is what it is.
Yeah, we are creating a like minds entertainment industry, basically. Just we're going to be creating skits and funny comedy, lots of comedy shit on there. I can't really
Lots of cool
explain
things.
too much. I can't really explain too much at the moment without saying too much. But
We will
yeah,
100% get into that more. But yeah, look, Like Minds is me and Miranda. That are me and Mama Chaos. We are Like Minds. So yeah, you look out for that joint account as well. and you can kind of see what kind of ridiculous stuff we're going to post on there. You'll also be able to find clips of this show on there as well. So,
Yep.
um, again, we will see you next week on the 21st of November with Mariah Walker and Operation Joy. Really looking forward to that. Cannot wait.
Me too. It was great talking with you, Jason. I'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.